Sure. So this deck is by LSV. He posted it on Channel Fireball yesterday or the day before. And it's actually pretty cool how high the power level of the deck turned out to be. Post-rotation, you wouldn't expect that, but this is almost like a historic power level kind of deck, and I don't say that lightly. So, probably the most powerful card in Standard right now is Alrund's Epiphany, even though the weakest color might be blue. And so the question is, can we find a good shell that Alrund's Epiphany works in, while still, not dying to the other more aggressive parts of the format? And so the way that LSV dealt with this problem was with Temur Ramp. So Temur gives us a lot to like. We have 4 copies of Frostbite in the main. We're running the Snowlands so that we're able to deal with early interaction, early creatures from the opponent. We have Cathartic Pyre, which does something similar, except it also lets us loot later in the game to find our big pieces. So what are our big pieces? Our big pieces are 3 copies of Goldspan Dragon. A little restraint there. Usually you'd expect 4. But it's nice to see only 3. Got 2 copies of Wrenn and 7, which is just good as a ramp spell, also good to put a big permanent on the board. We're going to have a lot of lands in play no matter what if we're being a ramp deck, so we want to be able to leverage that with Wrenn and 7. Tolvalar's Huntmaster, pretty good just as like a Tolsimir lookalike to stabilize the board and also be a win condition if you need it and you can't find your other pieces. And to dig for our pieces, we have 3 copies of Expressive Iteration, multi-format all-star. We've got 4 copies of Consider, 1 mana, Surveil, and draw a card, which is pretty sweet. And 2 copies of Memory Deluge, which is, I think, Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa's favorite card in the set. You get to look at the top 4 cards of your library when you cast it the first time, and put 2 of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom. So it's like a bad Drawn from Dreams the first time you cast it. But then you can flash it back and it's dig for time, because you're going to cast it for 7 mana later, and you get to take 2 cards from the top 7. It's a pretty sweet spell. It's also instant speed, which allows us to hold up interaction for the opponent's creatures, and if they don't do anything, then we get to punish them with spells like this. So obviously, this deck tends to do pretty well against aggro, but what it doesn't do so well, at least in game 1, is take on control. And so if you look at the sideboard, you have mostly control to deal. You've got mostly spells to deal with control. 2 copies of Disdainful Stroke to deal with other people who are doing the same stuff that we are. 3 copies of Negate for the same reason. We have 1 copy of Malevolent Hermit, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a Siren Storm Tamer to counter any non-creature spell. Early in the game, the paying 3 makes this kind of like our Poor Man's Mystical Dispute, whose absence is one of the reasons that this deck might do well in the format. We've also got 4 copies of Suspicious Stowaway, which is also pretty reasonable against the control decks of the format, because when they see us, they're not going to keep their creature removal in. And all of a sudden, we bring in 4 copies of this guy. Whenever it's day, and we attack, and we connect with the opponent, we get to loot a card away, which is pretty good. But then, if we can make it night, which we can control with our instant speed interaction, then we can transform it into Seafaring Werewolf, which basically becomes a Curious Obsession with 2 power instead. So I think we've got some game here. I'm curious to see how it does against the other decks. That's about it.
All right, so our first round opponent, I am going to be very, very careful to keep my mouth shut because this is a tournament. Also, did you want to post in your Discord that you are playing here?
I already have.
Okay, cool. So let's take a look at our first round opponent. Bert.
All right, so what are we looking at here? Got Dimir Control, a lot of the same anti-control elements that were in our sideboard. Got Lear, Disciple of the Drowned, which prevents spells from being countered, which we don't really care about in game 1. Board Wipes, which don't affect us too much. Soul Shatter hits Wrenn and 7, but by the time she hits the battlefield, we're not too concerned about that. Siphon Insight is not really... It's actually kind of scary if they hit one of our big spells, but if it hits one of our enablers, like our ramp spells, we're not too worried about it. I think this matchup is going to be pretty good in game 1. In the sideboard, they have 2 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Duresses, which might be painful. Teachings of the Archaics, I guess, as divide by 0 targets for the Learn. Okay, I think this could be a good matchup for us. I think a really well-tuned deck, Dimir Control, could beat us, obviously, because it's a bad matchup for us in general, but I think we can handle this. Bert's list is kind of interesting. I'm wondering how good the Learn mechanic will be now that rotation is over. Like, having it take up a bunch of spots in your sideboard used to be pretty painful when you had 8 sets in Standard, but now that there's not nearly as many.
Let me see. All right, chat, I'm going to be very, very quiet to not speak and not respond to his out loud questions because it's a tournament. And that would be not cool. So just as a heads up, I'll be a little bit more of a silent observation person.
All right, here we go.
You can also put sound back on the game. I took it off.
Whatever, we're good. All right, on the play. One copy of Consider. We've got Memory Deluge and Path to the Festival. Opponent's running Temur Control. We're not really worried about getting run over by creatures. I think we're pretty happy to keep this. Question is, do we want to Consider on one, or do we want to get our tap land out of the way? I think since we don't have anything that we desperately want to do on turn 2, and we already have 2 other red sources and the tap land, I'm going to get the blue land into play and hold up Consider. Say go. Okay. Tap land. Do we want to bin that? No. I don't think we want to bin the Goldspan Dragon. We will keep that one. Hitting the 5th land is a little unfortunate. We don't really want to draw any more for a little while, especially with the ramp spell in hand. Alright, opponent plays untapped land, says go. What could that be? They could be holding up Power Word Kill, they could be holding up Siphon Insight, they could be holding up Flunk. Only the Siphon Insight really concerns us at all. There's no chance of a counter spell here, I'm pretty sure. So we're just going to ramp. And in order to ramp, we have to play green. And path it up. So we have to be a little careful, or a little aware that the Siphon Insight is in their deck. We get to use the Scry. I think that's how this works. This is both an island and a mountain, so we will have 3 different basic land types in play if we fetch forest. And then we get to Scry. We want to Scry something bad to the top. Can make it harder for them to steal something. Yeah, that's how this works. Yeah, we're gonna... Oh, normally I would keep this on top of it because I'm fairly sure that this is Siphon Insight, and we have Memory Deluge to dig for something like it later. I'm actually gonna bottom it. Yep, there it is. Okay. So we have a few options here. We can slam the Goldspan Dragon. They're holding up 3 mana. I think, especially because they're running 2 copies of Soul Shatter, which is just such an effective answer, I'm not really interested in playing it. So the question then is, are we playing the Path to the Festival from hand? Are we casting Memory Deluge on their turn? Or are we flashing back the Path to the Festival again? And in game 1, where opponent is running 4 copies of Divide by Zero, and they probably really want to play it this turn, I'm not really interested in slamming this. I think I'm just going to play this island and say go. Cast the Memory Deluge on their turn. They can flash back this Siphon, which kind of sucks. This also allows us to hide the red. Yeah, you got it. So we don't have the second red in play for the Goldspan Dragon yet, even though we have it in our hand, which might represent some mana troubles, depending on how they play. We have been siphoned. All right, Bert. Okay, so we get 2 of these cards, and they are pretty good cards. So we can take another Goldspan Dragon, which I'm confident they have the answer for in Soul Shatter. I feel like it's likely they have it. We can take Wrenn and 7, which Soul Shatter also answers. Question is, how aggressive do we want to be? And I think since we're the ramp deck with a lot of really good top decks, I kind of just want to overwhelm their answers. So I want to go as big as possible. Right? The only thing I can think of is like to take one of these threats and Expressive Iteration to just keep drawing more gas later. Maybe that's good. They're pretty good at dealing with creatures. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Wrenn and 7 and I'm going to take Expressive Iteration. I'm going to play the Goldspan Dragon to bait the Soul Shatter, and then I'm going to play the Wrenn and 7 afterwards, I think. Alright. So now, are we casting Iteration this turn? If we do, we will have 4 mana available for some other play, which isn't really all that great. Are they going to punish us with anything on turn 5? They have that Leer thing, the 3/4 that prevents spells from being countered, which is actually kind of great for us anyway, because it doesn't really affect us in game 1. Let's just slam the dragon. And then if they somehow don't have the answer, then we can use the treasure from the dragon to cast the ramp spell as well. And if this gets divided by 0, I think we're pretty happy with that too. And even in the event that like they divide by 0 and somehow manage to get Liliana into play, we also have Goldspan Dragon to attack it down. We get to go to combat, which is pretty sweet. All right. And we have no great reason to hold up mana here, so I'm just going to try to ramp a little more. Hey, which kind of land do we want? We have triple blue. I think we're a little short on red. In case we rip Goldspan Dragon off the top and need to cast... We want to cast it Expressive Iteration or something, I'm going to get the red. Get to scry... I'm not scrying Iteration to the bottom, am I? That seems insane. Yeah, we'll keep that. I'm wondering what these two cards are. Okay, well... Oh, that's their copy of Memory Deluge, not ours. So now we're in a pretty good spot. If the opponent manages to deal with Goldspan Dragon, it's probably going to take most of their mana to accomplish it, and we'll probably get to slam Wrenn and 7 as well. And Wrenn and 7 I think we'll probably minus right away because we don't have any lands in hand to dump onto the battlefield, and I want to just keep putting pressure on them on the board. Although, in game 1, they have a bunch of like targeted creature removal that might just be rotting in their hand right now, so maybe that's wrong. We'll reevaluate based on what they do. Although, I mean, the opponent didn't have an answer for the Goldspan Dragon last turn, so this is... Okay, this is our Wrenn and 7. So they have a 5/5 now, which is actually surprisingly annoying. But we can't double Frostbite it and attack the Wrenn, which is probably just what we're going to have to do. If we cast Iteration in an attempt to find red land, we won't necessarily find the red land we need to cast both Frostbites. We have enough snow, actually. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to do. So in terms of sequencing, can we also play Wrenn and 7? We can. Okay, so I don't think they have Soul Shatter or they would have used it on the Goldspan Dragon. I think I'm going to play the Wrenn and 7 and plus it, but we can ping down this 5/5 first. A little unfortunate that they found Wrenn and 7 when we deliberately scryed a big bomb spell to the graveyard. Or to the bottom. What are you gonna do? And we're just gonna get our Planeswalker resolved while we can. I think I want a plus. What are they at? They're at 16? Yeah, I'm gonna plus. Because I don't think they have Soul Shatter or they would have used it. We found Hall of the Storm Giants too, which is gonna be pretty difficult for them to deal with. Like the Ward 3 on the Hall is probably by itself going to make their lives very difficult. Okay. That deals with the dragon. Do you also have the Soul Shatter to deal with the Wrenn and 7? And then how are you answering the Hall plus my 2 Expressive Iterations? Divide by 0, maybe? Interesting. They say go. Okay. So I kind of want to punish them for holding up mana here by powering up Hall of the Storm Giants, because none of their targeted removal will be able to deal with it. The only card in their deck that looks like it could is Soul Shatter, which would hit the Wrenn and 7 anyway, so they would have played that on their turn if they could have. Making the Tree Folk is kind of crappy because I think their hand is probably full of a lot of cards like Flunk. But I don't think we are getting much further by plussing. Yeah, we're not running out of gas. So let's start by making the Tree Folk. Power up the Hall. Just get in. Okay, so we got in, and now what? We have 4 mana available. If we Expressive Iteration, we're probably not going to find anything we can play this turn anyway. Let's just try to ramp a little more. Get some value off the scry. And I think we have more than enough green, so we'll get red. That's pretty good. It gets us pretty deep. Yeah, we'll keep that. Alright, this is going to have to be like the best Memory Deluge of all time. Is this the flashback one? No, they only had 4 mana, so this was from hand. I'm really not sure what gets them back in the game at this point. Yeah, we made the creature with Ren. It's a little sad because like I'm confident they'll be able to remove it, but I also just don't think any other value off of Ren makes a whole lot of sense. And time they spend removing this takes mana that they could use to pay Ward to deal with our big land threat. Also, we might just draw Goldspan Dragon off the top and win, even if they deal with the 10/10. So opponent's on 7 mana. No Allward's Epiphanies in the main. Like the biggest spell in their deck is Professor Onyx, and she's just not going to be good enough, I don't think. So, I mean, which Doomblade do you want to cast? I guess is the question.
I'm gonna use my phone to poke in and see how everybody else is doing. Chat, tell us how everybody else is doing.
Thank you, Harkalark. I appreciate it. Oh man, that can't feel good. That can't feel good at all. Okay, so bounce Ren and 7 to hand, probably Doomblade the 10/10, and hope to find some answer for the 7/7 later. Yeah, oh, they did find the Soul Shatter too. Alright. So what are we doing here? I don't have my overlay, so I don't know how much mana we have. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we can power up the Hall. That costs effectively 7 to attack with it. We'll have 4 left. Like, isn't great. They can confront the past, bring back what? Nothing. So I think what I actually want to do here is try to find Goldspan Dragon and play it. And if we can't, then we can play Ren and 7 and make another Tree Folk, and we're back in the same spot next turn, but closer to another Goldspan Dragon that just ends the game. Let's start with this. Yeah, there he is. Perfect. Matter. The Goldspan Dragon's going to hand, obviously. We'll just take the Vast Land, or the Slow Land. Is there a way to do this so that we can activate the Hall and attack with it? I think we are 1 mana short of that. We will have 4 lands, 6. Yeah, and it'll cost 6 to power up the Hall, which will force me to tap the Hall in order to use it. That sucks. But let's just get in. There's a stick for 1 mana. What could that be? So they have a Consider? Okay. Attack with the Goldspan. Now we have 8. We're just going to jam Ren and deal with it. So they have to deal with the Planeswalker and the Goldspan Dragon and not tap so low that they can't kill the Hall the next turn. All right.
Jaffer's up a game against, or no, Fluffy's up a game against Wolfie. And Everos is up a game against LK.
Scoreboard watching?
Mm-hmm. I can't comment on your game.
It's true.
It is a little weird. Like, I've co-piloted a lot, but never, like, in a tournament, obviously. So it is a little strange. Hi, Trey. Thank you, guys. Summer and Button, appreciate you. In between Airballs matches, guys, we will be, like, hanging out a little bit more, and I will be drafting later as well.
The Bonafide's Field of Ruin, which is a creative answer to the Hall. They may be able to last another turn here. So they crack the Field of Ruin and pay the ward, and they have another removal spell for the 11/11. They go to 1. See if we can make their life more difficult. If we find another dragon, then I think we just win. I think that does it too, actually. Yeah. Keep that. But, oh crap. No, I guess we don't keep that, but that does it too. I meant to keep that on top. Click the wrong button.
Pressure's getting to you.
But that's pretty sweet too. That's a nice consolation prize. Why doesn't it pop up when you scry? Because that's not really a scry, and it's not technically a surveil either, even though that's exactly what it is. It just it doesn't use that word. Sure. So that's a good idea. They did that before I was able to power it up and hit them with the ward tax. Flunk the dragon, okay. And are we also dealing with the 11/11 somehow? No. No, we are not. Okay.
Game 1.
Cool. So like I said, most of our sideboard is dedicated to dealing with the control matchup, because generally it's pretty bad, even though it went well for us in that game. So pretty standard sideboard plan. We're just going to take out most of our targeted spot removal and bring in counter spells. And also, Suspicious Stowaway is a creature threat that they might board out their removal from if they're not careful. The 1/11 Hermit could get them as well. So I think we're pretty happy with this. Okay, yeah, let's give this a try.
Astral just won Game 1 versus Christmas. Thank you, Duck. Appreciate the updates. We need them.
Canadians aren't allowed to win? No one told me that.
Astral's also Canadian.
Oh, that just seems like terrible value for us then. Okay, so we have a hand of magic cards. So Stroke is like fine against them. It's actually not great. They don't have many disdainful Stroke targets. We have 1 copy of Alrund's Epiphany, which they could duress. They have 2 copies of duress. Stowaway they might board out the removal from, but if they manage to kill the Stowaway, we're kind of in some trouble. We're not ramping, we don't have any payoffs, but our deck is like all ramp spells and payoffs. So I think I'm going to try this. Turn 1, swamp, nothing. Okay. I don't know what that could have been. Raven people? No, I don't know what would hold priority there. Just get the island in play, right? Actually, if we draw a green spell, now let's just play this. I wanted to hold this, but I want to keep my options open for the dual lands. Turn 2 duress. So that either came off the top, or they decided to hold it to try to hit a better spell later, give me 1 more draw step. Either one makes sense, but it does mean that their shields are down on like negate if we have something. Looks like the Stowaway is going to hit the battlefield, which is pretty sweet. We can also try to play around the second duress by foretelling the Alrund's Epiphany, but I don't think I'm a huge fan of that. I think I want to do the thing that they like, the counterable thing when they don't have counter magic mana available. Alrund's Epiphany we can foretell anytime, and especially now that we've drawn the second and they only have 1 duress, like it's not that bad. If we don't cast a spell on our next turn, it becomes night, and this thing becomes a must-answer threat. Like, it's a Curious Obsession ++ at that point. So if they have to use, like, a premium removal spell to deal with it, then I think we're thrilled. Attack first. Sweet. Wait, why is it nighttime? I thought this was going to come in as the stowaway. Oh, they made it night by not casting a spell. Oh, that's a disaster. Okay. All right. Well. I think they probably should have cast that on their turn to prevent it from becoming night. So we'd have to loot instead of draw the card. It's going to take some getting used to, this day-night mechanic. It's a really mind-warpy thing. Consider, so they might be missing land drops as well. One thing that was cool that NerdGirl and I discovered when we were playing Sealed the other day was that you can actually play lands off the Siphon Insight, because it says play, not cast. And they find Soul Shatter, which they probably had to do. And we are kind of out of gas at this point, but I don't think we're too upset. So if you're looking for me on Twitch, Jared, then it's Airball P on Twitch. Ren and 7. So I think we're just happy to play this, right? If the worst case scenario is opponent counters Ren and 7 and then untaps, plays Professor Onyx, and they get under the Disdainful Stroke. But if Ren and 7 touches the board, then we instantly get to put our entire hand of land on the battlefield, and we have 2 Foretold Epiphanies. I think the upside is just too good to not do that. I'm going to play this on red, and we're going to jam Ren. Oh, I see. Like instead of bang chair, it's bang airball stream. Okay, Ren resolves. Great. So the question now is, like, how much removal do you think Bert has left in his deck in game 2? Because we can either go for 0 here, put 2 lands into play, which is, like, fine, but we're gonna play the 6th land for Epiphany the next turn anyway. We can draw lands from our deck, but I think if Bert boarded out his creature removal, then he might have a really hard time answering this. Also, if he has the 2nd Soul Shatter, which makes some sense given the way the game has gone, then at least we get something off of this. Okay, so no removal at end of turn there, or at least decided not to cast it. They do have 2 of our cards. Those could be painful. They did find the 2nd blue as well. I don't think if these are Epiphanies, I don't think they can foretell them. So I don't think they hit anything, like, super threatening, especially because we already have 2 Epiphanies of our own. Like, the odds of them hitting an Epiphany are pretty poor. And we've kind of gotten to the point of the game where we want it to be, right? Like, if we draw land, then that's great because it grows our creature. If we draw a spell, then that's great because we can cast any of our spells and they're all awesome. And if we can make a bigger board presence before casting these Epiphanies, we might just kill them on the spot. All right, so this is something that we might have wanted to be able to Disdainful Stroke. This is a pretty big boy. Now, what do we want to do? So we can plus Ren, hit lands to our hand, cast Epiphany. This will become a 6/6. Next turn we can plus Ren, dump the lands from our hand onto the board. This will become huge. We can attack through. And then cast another Epiphany as well. I think this is where we cash in. And I think we're going to... We can plus Ren first. There's no harm in doing that. Okay.
That's a lot of
That's a lot of land. I think we like this. So we'll play this out on blue. Alrund's Epiphany. No attacks. Oh my god. Oh my god. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Casual 12, 12. No big deal. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, sure. Drawing the land now so that we can put this in play and make the 12-12 even bigger for really no good reason whatsoever. Sure, let's flash this back. Why not? All right, Bert. Yeah. Yeah. All right, can we just kill them? That would be nice. See if we can find an answer. Yeah, we're just gonna take negate and just lock them out of the game. And I guess consider as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't find the other Epiphany. Actually, I think we have one left in the deck. Let's see if we can do it. What do you think, chat? No, couldn't get there this time. No, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to create another tree folk. Yeah, good game. Yeah, that didn't feel particularly close. All right, good game, Bert.
Ouch.
We are up against Fluffy. All right, so we've got Despair Sentinel and Magda, probably still one of the best combos in Standard. We've got Werewolf Pack Leader, Ranger class, same stuff we've seen for a while. And the top end, it looks like they've shaved a couple they've shaved a copy of Goldspan Dragon and replaced it with Arlen. I think this should also be the kind of matchup that we want. Ramp decks tend to do pretty well against these mid-rangey, not super aggressive, value-based aggro decks. So I think we're pretty happy here. Game 1, maybe not. Like, our removal might not line up perfectly with them, but I think in the sideboard we've got enough. All right, Fluffy. Let's go. I mean... we have 2 removal spells. We have our top end, we have ramp, and we have iteration. If we hit our 3rd land and don't, like, die, I think we're pretty happy. We also do have the 2 different colors it will take to cast the iteration. I think we're keeping this.
CGB's in the chat.
Hey, CGB. Okay. So I think I'm going to play the Bark Channel Pathway. No. I need the green to... I might need the green to play Path to the Festival later, so I think I'm going to play this on red on turn 1. Yeah. I was thinking of not playing the red on turn 1 to, like, not give away whether we had a Frostbite in hand or not. But I think that's not a luxury we have. We'll play this on red. We'll play this on blue next turn if we don't draw a land, or if we do, then we'll reevaluate then. Also know that we're gonna need land to be able to deal with their crap. This went... That was probably one of the better possible draws, because it's the green source we needed. So we can now play this on blue without worrying too much about it. We don't want iteration, obviously, on this turn. Sentinel, we don't have to kill it right now. If they play Magda, then we can kill it in response later if we want. I don't think we're foretelling Epiphany this turn. So let's just see. Let's just see what they do. We're definitely killing something. Yeah. How are they doing for 1-drops? Like, if I let this touch the board, are they casting anything scary? They're not. They could just play another Sentinel, so we're just gonna kill the pack leader. That's their biggest threat. I guess we make them make their decision about attacking first. Yeah. Cool. And we're ramping. We're gonna get our second red for a board wipe. We can cast this later to get our second blue for the Epiphany when the time comes. So this is a new board wipe, 5 damage each creature and planeswalker. Probably at some point today I will use this to kill my own Ren and 7, because I'll forget it hits planeswalkers. But it's like our best card in the matchup right now. We actually kind of want them to use the Jaspera Sentinel for mana so that they commit more to their board so that we can kill them. That's one of the more annoying cards they could have had. So they're going to attack with the pack leader if we allow it. And we don't really have any way to deal with that. So the problem is they're going to draw a card, which I don't like.
Says the blue player.
Yes. So we can iteration here, try to find untapped land to cast Path to the Festival and ramp, or we can just cast Path to the Festival right now and guarantee that we're going to hit our board wipe next turn. And the question is, how well are they going to be able to recover from that? And I think the answer to that question depends on whether they have Arlen in their hand or not, because that's going to be a hard card for us to deal with. I think it's unlikely they have Arlen, because they probably would have. They're missing land. I guess it's possible they have her. I don't think there's any real need to be greedy. Okay, I'm going to make sure we get to cast our board wipe. And I'll get the second blue to be able to cast the Epiphany. It's hard for me to not cast Iteration in that spot, because if we find untapped land, and like we're a ramp deck, a lot of our deck is untapped land, then it's just free value. But so what they should do is probably pump the Ranger class here and it just attack. But if we're lucky, they might commit more to the board. So if they have like untapped land, they can pump the Ranger class, pump the Werewolf. No, they need 4 for that. Okay. Tough decision for them. Love to know what their cards are. Okay, so now if they have Arlen, this is the time to slam her. They can attack first, see what they draw.
That's true. Fluffy Wolf is playing wolves. I like this.
Okay, so we're taking 3, 5, 6, 7. I also have to be a little concerned about this Lair of the Hydra, although Epiphany lines up pretty well with that for jump blockers. What's going on here? They're hovering their lair. If there's anything they can do with it. Like, they can turn it on and attack for 1, but then they're not attacking with the Sentinel, so it's like just needlessly exposing it to a possible frostbite, which I should be bluffing, actually. I should have stops. So this is game 1. They do have Snakeskin Veils in the sideboard, which would have allowed them to maybe play around the burn down the house eventually. But yeah, here there's no real choice.
I'm confused. Isn't it the wolves that are supposed to blow down the house?
Well, I think what happened was the wolves killed the pigs, then moved into their house, and now we're paying them back for it.
Oh. Okay. Just checking.
Alright, so there's the Goldspan Dragon. It's pretty scary. Like, if we had cast that Expressive Iteration, we might have hit the land drop that we needed to be able to cast the Allrun's Epiphany on time. Yeah, this is pretty scary, but we do get to slam the Ren and 7 and make a 6/6 blocker, which is pretty nice. And then if we draw untapped land, which Ren will probably allow us to do, then we'll be able to cast the Epiphanies and maybe go off. Does it matter what we play this on? I think it does, actually. I think we want this on red, in case we draw like a... Oh, actually, we didn't even have the green. Could have played that on blue, but we actually can't cast Ren and 7. That sucks. And now I'm stuck with Expressive Iteration after already having played a land for turn. And we are basically dead, because this Goldspan Dragon's going to attack for 6 next turn. So let's see if we can draw something. We cannot. Okay. Well. And don't kill me? I mean, okay, they're not powering up the lair. Do they have anything that can go face? Maybe. There's some new cards that I'm not sure exactly what they do. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, they get to cast their creatures with flash to play around like our board wipes as well. Alright, so... Still don't have the green for Ren and 7. I probably should have taken one of those forests last turn and put it into my hand instead, so I would be able to do that. But in any case, I think we still have to play the Epiphany here. Problem is we're at 1 and they have the ability to power up this Lair of the Hydra, so we have to take great care. There's no Bone Crusher Giant that they can be drawing to go face anymore. Ooh, how does this work? So we play Goldspan Dragon, attack, we have 4 mana left over. It's not quite good enough. We have 7 mana, so we can like try to high roll and consider for a land that will allow us to play the second Epiphany. Don't love it. We're just attacking the Planeswalker. They also have like 5 mana available to cast creatures with flash. This is pretty scary. I don't think we're getting out of this, but like it's a testament to how powerful this Epiphany card is that like we're not dead. Now we might be dead. We are out of Epiphanies. We don't have the ability to consider into another one. We still don't have the green that we need to cast the Ren and 7. So we can attack Arlen down to 0, we can play Goldspan Dragon as a blocker, and if they don't have any creatures in hand, which seems like super unlikely, then maybe we live. The alternative is... what? Like if we just say go, it becomes night, and then this becomes a werewolf that can attack us, so we actually have to play something this turn too, which is a bit of a mind warp. We can play Goldspan Dragon, leave the 4/4s back, and attack Arlen, which is probably best. All right. So it's not going to be night, which is nice. And do we cast this Consider now? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything we can draw with the Consider that we would want to cast on this turn anyway, because we don't want to tap out. We want to represent some removal. Give the Dragon Trample? How will he give the Dragon Trample? Missing something? And we can try to, like, consider into, like, multiple frostbites it's going to take to deal with this dragon and give them just a ton of mana. This is going to suck. However, if we finally draw the green source that I passed on without thinking about it, like, 4 turns ago, we can get Ren and 7 down and get a big old blocker that can hopefully stabilize the board. Like, most of their removal is damage-based. If we can get a big creature in play with reach, they might have a very hard time. Treasure counts as a green too. That's a fair point.
It's very hard to stay silent.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be reading chat. Just have it.
You can. All streamers are. It's a streamer tournament.
That's true.
But co-piloting is not. And chat is usually more harmful than good.
That's
so
true.
like
They've already told me that I shouldn't trust them, so. Cracking the treasure, okay. For Tovelar. This, I think, is fine.
that card's sweet. I'm excited to play that in limited.
Reckless Stormseeker. New combat. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains haste. Okay, I guess we're digging for like a frostbite or something. Don't. I need to stop. I don't want them to go to combat and be able to use that trigger. Alright. And they're powering up the Hydra. Okay. Fire this off now. How does this work? Put the card into your graveyard. No. No, we will not be putting that card into the graveyard. Right, so luckily the Hydra can be pumped to the point where we can't double block it and kill it. I think this is the block. It does suck that we can't play both the burn the house down the house and play Run in 7. But maybe I should have thought that harder about that, but I feel like any road to victory goes through casting a board wipe. So the problem is that they still have this lair. If we attack with the Goldspan Dragon, we have 4, 8, 10, 12 mana, which is like exactly enough to cast Burn Down the House and Red and 7. We have to attack with the Goldspan Dragon to do it. That will also kill our 1/1. So we'll have 1 blocker for the Goldspan Dragon in the form of the Reach creature, and we won't have a blocker for the Lair of the Hydra. That's not quite good enough. I think we have to start with a Consider. No. So we can wipe their board now, and we still don't have enough to deal with the lair, which will kill us. So maybe I should have just dug for an Epiphany. Six mana left, which is enough for... I don't think we're quite going to get there. Because of that stupid lair. And because the burn down the house has the ability to kill the Goldspan Dragon. Although, like, we can cast this and make blockers. Which, like, might be what we have to do. Yeah, I think what we're doing here... We're going to attack with the Goldspan, leave the 1/1 back. You can cast Ren and 7. Double check. They power up the Hydra. They have 4 attackers. We have 2 blockers, so it's not good enough. Yeah, we have to do this. Yeah, don't forget about the lair. Like, that turn was very easy if they didn't have this lair. And now we also have the Frostbite available as well. This wasn't the wrong mode. This was, like, the only thing that didn't kill us. If I cast this for the board wipe side, it wipes our entire board, they power up the lair, and we die. Because this Wrath does not kill the Goldspan Dragon. It's a 6/6 and we do 5 damage.
Power of chat is they just tell you that your opponent isn't allowed to do things.
Right.
You just win.
I see. Tough game. Yeah, 1 is not dead. It just feels like it. Okay. No attacks. Okay, then. No attacks? Not even with the Goldspan Dragon. What does that mean?
Means you have an 8/8 reach.
It does. It does mean that. I'm kind of stupid sometimes. I'm gonna untap. I don't think I want to kill anything yet. Okay. Ah, that sucks. We had an Epiphany near the top. We can attack with the Goldspan Dragon. If they block, then we can Frostbite it, but it's like the most face-up play of all time. We also do kind of like have to turn the corner pretty quickly. They need a removal spell for the 8/8 before the Goldspan Dragon can get in, and even in that case, we have the 1/1. Like, we don't want to be dead to a second Goldspan Dragon plus burn spell, and they are drawing off the top, but I think that's just an argument for attacking sooner rather than later. Alright, I'm attacking with the Goldspan Dragon.
Buck is Angry says, Christmas is 1-1 against Everos. Thanks for the update, hon.
Okay. Just dump our lands onto the board, make that 8/8 bigger. The crazy thing is that this card hurts us more than it hurts them. But there's a chance that we... Oh, wow, that would be sweet, right? There's a chance that we can wipe their board and kill them with a 10/10 if we draw a land, which we can't do. I was going to say, can we maybe make this a 10/10, this 10/10 a 12/12, wrap the board and kill them next turn? That would be pretty sweet. But we can also just, like... I feel like this isn't good enough. I want to do better. And this holds up the Frostbite anyway. Yeah. I think I want more green at this point. I mean, it's still true. That's true. Punted that. Okay.
I like Fluffy Wolf's list. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that would have been lethal because of the death triggers from the devil, which I forgot about.
I would have had a lot of flair.
It would have.
Style.
And now I bottomed it twice. So, like, I just absolutely deserve whatever's coming to me. Alright. And, okay. Okay. How are we attacking? We are not. I think we're just untapping again. And throw away Ren, make another giant creature. That seems wrong. Are they? They have 6, 4, 5, 6, 7 attackers for next turn. We have 6 blockers. We need to kill something. Also block with the Hall. And if they play something, oh, they have 7. They have another attacker with the Lair. This is uncomfortable. Maybe we have to throw away Ren. Ugh. I think between the Hall and the Frostbite, we can live another turn. But this Chariot's going to be a significant problem. But then we get to keep Ren around and make another Tree Folk. And we're staying alive another turn longer to find, like, Alrund's Epiphany, which might just win the game. Okay. I think I'm going to plus. Didn't hit any lands. That's kind of tilting. I think we just have to say go, because we need to be able to power up this Hall to block. The other thing is, like, if they draw a creature, they can also haste it up with this thing. So we have to, if they draw another creature and we have to kill this pre-combat, which we can't do because it just turned night because I didn't cast a spell. And now it's too big. And now we probably lose. Yeah, I think we're dead now. I told you I was going to screw up the day-night thing. They're not powering up the lair. Okay. The devils only deal 1 damage. So there's no chance of a draw here. Yeah, that's true. We are dead to the trample trigger for Tovolar. Hopefully he's missing it too. So, like, we want to keep the Goldspan Dragon alive in case we can get in somehow. Definitely block like this. Block here. This tramples, so we actually need to put 4 points of toughness in front of it. Blocks. I think we're dead. Yeah. No way out, I don't think. We need to put 6 points of toughness in front of it. What am I saying? So maybe something like this. But even though we don't have enough blockers, yeah, this is over, I think. We do this. That's not what I meant. Not that. Who plays with creatures? This just seems so tilting. if he finds the trample, then it's over. We're dead on board. We need him to make a mistake. But I'm going to give him the chance to do it. Yeah. Good game. That was a tough one. Alright, but we can still put this together, I believe. Alright, what do we want? So, like, Cinderclasm against them is not super good, right? Let me pull up his list again.
It's on the other tab. Over there.
Right here.
It should be, I think.
Cool.
Lonely Porcupine, thank you for the prime.
So, like, Cinderclasm's not ideal. Not a whole lot of 2 toughness creatures, or not a whole lot of 2 or less toughness creatures over there. There is, like, Magda. There's just Vera Sentinel, but once we get later into the game, it's not that great. I think we're interested in Stroke, actually, as an answer for their Planeswalkers and their Goldspan Dragon. Obviously, Burning Hands seems reasonably good, although, like, really not many green big targets in their deck. Or there's no Elder Gargaroths anymore. There's no one's playing Vorinclex right now. This seems pretty good. So what don't we want? I think... I feel like the Deluges are probably too slow, but I actually kind of want them as well. I'm not sure we're ever going to get to cast this, but if we are holding up mana for like Disdainful Stroke, then it's kind of nice to have the payoff to be able to cast this anyway. But I also just don't want to like die. What are they bringing in from the board? They do have two copies of Toski, which is like shockingly irritating because we can't counter it. We can't really deal with it in any great way. We have to kind of allow it. I think I'm cutting the Deluges and trim an iteration, I think. And honestly, I think I don't want the Strokes. I think I've changed my mind. I think we deal with the dragon by making blockers. I don't want to be holding up mana while they're just killing me with small creatures. Alright, back against the wall. Alright. Better. Now the question is, what's the keep? Or what's the putback? It's like either the dragon or the Epiphany. I think the Epiphany doesn't do enough on its own yet, while the dragon is just like by itself a good card. I think I'm going to put back the Epiphany. It does mean that we don't have something great to do on turn 2, but we're on the play. Frostbite's probably going to be reasonable. We're going to be ramping on turn 3 into the dragon. Yeah, okay. We'll put back the Epiphany. It is a little awkward having Frostbite in a deck that has a weak snow mana base. I think I'm fine just playing this out now rather than make a decision on the pathways. We're not using the mana, but it doesn't represent anything anyway. Having blue-red open does mean we could have like Consider or something, so they can't make any great reads about us having Frostbite, although I'm sure they expect we have it. Highly incentivized to use it, because we want to path next turn to be able to play the dragon. Magda. I think that's... So the question is, do we kill the Sentinel or the Magda? If we kill the Sentinel, we want to do it now. If they have another Magda in hand, letting this... no, we're killing the Sentinel. Like, this slows them down way too much, and we're trying to take over the game by having the dragon in play. I think we let the Magda sit. That's pretty good. So now we actually actively want them to have mana, so that they can pump more stuff onto the board so we can wrath them. I think we're going to play this on... I don't think it matters too much. I'm going to play this on green, so I don't forget that I have Wrenn in my deck. Because that's been known to happen. And I want another blue. So in retrospect, allowing Magda to touch the board, killing it, and giving them more mana to commit more to the board to kill them with the Wrath would have turned out better. But that only works. That line only works if we have the Wrath in hand, and if we didn't draw this exactly off the top, then them having a giant board puts too much pressure on us. All right, so hopefully they play out like a Sentinel or something. They don't. We find Ren though. So if we play Ren out, make the blocker, they attack. If they stomps the board pretty hard. We find a land next turn. The token goes to a 6/6, and then we wrath their whole board. They play Dragon, then they will get to kill Ren, but at the cost of their Dragon. No, I guess they can attack with both of these and kill Ren. But I think that's still fine. Because the alternative is we play Burn Down the House now, wipe their board, they rebuild with these 3 cards in hand, and then it's not safe to play Ren anyway. Yeah. I think I like that line. They could have Burning Hands, actually, which would have been a reason not to play the Ren until I had like 7 lands in play. Because Burning Hands is a pretty convenient answer to the 5/5 token. If they do have it, like, all is not lost. Because it's such an efficient answer, it might tempt them into playing more creatures into play anyway. Especially when they can haste them up with this thing. I'm a little surprised how hard this matchup has turned out to be. I thought this one was going to be good for us. Okay. Not like ideal. So they can tap Magda with the Chariot to make a treasure. And haste it up. Okay. But this is like okay. Like if they attack out here to try to kill Ren, we can trade with the Chariot and then wrath the board. I think we're pretty okay with how this went then. Ren got us a ton of value. So is the plan here to hold full control, make a treasure, use the treasure to cast Burning Hands on the 5/5? No, it doesn't seem like it. So this is actually pretty sweet, right? Now we get to block, keep Ren alive, wrath the board, because this would probably die anyway. Alternatively, we can just let Ren die, and if we draw land, then our 5/5 will survive the board wipe. But I don't think that's right. I think I'm happy just to get this Chariot off the board. Oh, the Wrath will kill Ren. That's true. I told you, I promised you that I was going to kill Ren with my own board wipe. Yeah, and it would have lived, too. Okay. See you, Ren. Alright. Bone's stuck on lands too, which is actually kind of bad for us because it means that these cards are gas. Like, we would have liked it if they had more mana to deploy their threats. But we are at a healthy 15, we're about to play Goldspan Dragon, and our top decks I think are better than theirs.
Nerd girl, if you need help, blink twice.
Alright, there's another Chariot. Okay. Awkward. So if I play the Goldspan Dragon now, then it'll die to my own board wipe. So we can wrath away these 2/2/2s, which doesn't seem great. We can say go, power up the Hall to block whatever they do, which stops the Chariot from attacking pretty effectively, which I think is the way to go. We are a long way from 10 mana. So like the choice is either say go or play the Wrath. I don't think playing the Goldspan Dragon makes much sense. They have the Haster, it really, really sucks. Alright, I'm gonna say go, and I'm gonna use the Hall to block.
I'm gonna go here and eat lunch.
Chat wants to know what kind of sandwich you got.
Messy one. Turkey bacon ranch.
Okay, so there's Magda. Now they're going to tap the Magda with the Chariot. Chariot's going to try to get in? Or are they going to forget about the Hall? Not going to forget about the Hall. So why? They just powered it up to get the token? I guess this makes some sense. Sure. Frostbite, a reasonable draw. So can we run this back? If we rat the board, hold up Frostbite. What if we don't rat the board? What if we kill Magda, allow them to get in with the Chariot again? Like they showed that they didn't have much, but now they have the mana to pump into the Ranger class to play around the board weight more effectively. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think we're wrathing here, holding up Frostbite. And if they have a four power creature to play and crew the Chariot, then we're sad. But if they have two creatures that they use to crew the Chariot, then we can Frostbite one in response, so they don't get to crew, which might buy us the time we need. Like exactly like this. If they do have the second creature, then it was probably a mistake to play Magda first. All right, we'll kill this in response. Okay, it wasn't enough anyway to crew the Chariot, but what are you gonna do? That is not bad. So we can play the dragon, attack with it, and then use the burn down the house to make the tokens to block. And they don't have a great way to deal with the dragon in the air. I think I like it. Let's be aggressive. They don't have a way to give trample. I played this post-combat because I wanted them to block with the Sentinel. I wanted them to not feel like they were in danger. Let's freaking go, right? Oh, do I not have enough blue to power up and attack? Oh, I do. Okay, this is fine. We're attacking for 7, 4 in the air. They block the dragon, they take 10. It's like fine. I'm going for it. Let's go. You're not killing me from 15. There's no Love Struck Beast anymore.
I look different?
There's Toski. Alright. Can we find another burn down the house? Yeah, we'll put that in the graveyard, I think. Love this game so much. I love this game so much.
Boo, blue players.
Oh, this game is so easy. Upstairs. I think we got him, guys. I think we got him. Beautiful. That was a pretty good top deck. Use the ramp just to be sure. Yeah, I felt like it. I thought so. Alright. Do we want to change anything on the draw versus on the play? I don't think so. I think we're just going to go with this. 1 and 1, yep.
Magic is easy, just try your epiphanies. Bert and I played a 2HG at PAX, and we had Epiphany, and we were both going to get to take an extra turn. It was going to be amazing, but we didn't get to play it. I was very sad.
It did get countered that one time.
We played it once, it got countered. But how absurd is that in 2HG? Oh my god.
That's pretty good. Alright, so now we're on the draw against the Gruul deck. Not really where we want to be.
Run away the first game.
That was a mistake in retrospect. Opponent mulls, which is nice. We have ramp, we have a big old dumb idiot to block up the board, and we have a removal spell. I'm keeping this. Like, if they have Sentinel into Magda into, like, Goldspan Dragon, then yeah, but what are you gonna do? I don't think Fluffy's made his decision about whether to keep his 6 yet either. We could get lucky here and have him go down to 5. Okay, they kept 6. No Sentinel. Gonna bluff the Frostbite, because why not? Okay, I guess that's why not. I guess we play this on... It's gonna be red and green. I guess we'll play this on... I guess we could draw, like, Expressive Iteration, which is a reason to play this on blue. Okay. There's Magda. Sure. I think I'm interested in Frostbiting that. These both do the same amount of... Well, we actually... Frostbite's only doing 2. That's another good reason to use the Frostbite, because I might want to loot away these lands with the Pyre later. And I want to do something this turn, because I really want to ramp this turn. That's quite good, too. You control 2 or more other lands. I control 2 or more other lands. I'm in untapped.
I always mess those things up.
Get me green. All right, there's our one. Burning Hands does deal with the Arlen very well, actually, as well. So does that. They have another Arlen, then playing the dragon and attacking Arlen feels bad, but we also make a treasure with the dragon to hold up Burning Hands and Cathartic Pyre. This is nuts. Alright. Do they have Snakeskin? They do have Snakeskin Veil in the sideboard, yes. But the opponent mulled to 6. Their hand has been extremely awkward. I'm not really interested in playing around something like that right now. Like, the more your opponent mulligans, the more awkward their hand is, the less it makes sense to play around any one thing in particular when you have a powerful thing you can be doing, just to force them to have it. And, like, even if they somehow do manage to deal with Goldspan Dragon, we're just gonna get a giant creature in play. Sure. Thoughts on using Play with Fire instead of Frostbite? I don't know. You'd have to ask LSV. He's the one who made the deck. I'm happy taking 4 here, I think. This is fine. Like, they're going to draw cards, but we have answers. Like, I think we can out-tempo them at this point. So we attack, play the Huntmaster. We have 2 treasures to cast our removal spells. We come up the board. This seems great. There's no red cat melee left in the format. Okay. What about that? This will transform into a 4/4, so we actually have to kill this now. Oops, I meant to use the Cathartic Pyre. Oops. What? Grab a leg. Yeah, so that max punish for casting the wrong removal spell there. I think we're still going to get there. Alright, we'll start with that. Try to find Epiphany, win the game. Put that in the bin. Land. If we play this into Epiphany, I think the game just mostly ends. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Guess we're playing this out now.
Mets, thank you for the 18 months.
Alright, can we top deck Alrund's Epiphany again? In like the best possible place to top deck Alrund's Epiphany? Where it digs me out of the crappy hole I've dug myself into by punting game 1 and playing the wrong removal spell, which would have won the game.
Blue players sure do ask for a lot.
Another dragon, okay. Attacking? Nope.
Oh my god! God. This is the worst! God damn it. Just play the damn card.
No, I gotta think about this.
Oh my god. This is your teammate. Oi. Chat's like, he can't keep getting away with it.
Snakeskin Veil makes this interesting. Making the Goldspan Dragon not trade. This has got to make him feel sick to his stomach. Like, that attack all is like the most confident thing in the world.
What? God damn it. Fluffy, no!
Play the ramp. You got it.
Oh my gosh. Don't be a bad influence, guys.
Sure, we'll keep that.
Gosh.
He's proud of, Chad is proud of me.
Chad is proud of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was easy. Alright. I'll be right back. I need to wash. What are we up against? We are up against Grixis Dragons. We have Shambling Ghast with no Deadly Dispute, which is kind of interesting. Alright, so this is a brew. This isn't what you'd expect. So, like, if we can shut down their Goldspan Dragon or their Predators, I think we're in pretty good shape. The Predator could be a problem. Most of our removal is damage-based. If they have other creatures on the board, then this could be an issue. They have 2 copies of Soul Shatter to deal with our dragons and our Wrenn. But I think us having the Alrund's Epiphany helps a lot. They do have this Flash threat, which is irritating. We may have a hard time dealing with a 4 toughness Flash threat. I think it's 4 toughness. In any case, I think we're probably a little favored here. Oh, it's a 5-2? Okay, then we can deal with it. Excellent. Alright, so if they play Sentinel on 1, do I want to Frostbite it right away? Or would I rather have Consider available? I think I'd rather have Consider. Does commit me to playing this green source on blue early, which sucks. And it keeps us with fewer snow permanents in play if we draw a bunch to make Frostbite better, but I think we're just keeping this. I think our plan goes over the top of them. If we can just find our pieces, especially in game 1, I think we're pretty happy.
I randomized the bracket and everything.
Okay. Yeah, we'll bin that one. That's pretty good. A Frostbite. There's no Deadly Dispute, which makes my job a lot easier because I don't have to kill stuff on my turn to play around them sacrificing it in response. Ranger Claw is probably one of the better ones they could have. I'm not sure it's going to be good enough. They could use the 2/2 to cast another 1-drop, which I don't think I'm interested in letting them do. I'm going to Frostbite this. We're going to ramp into Wrenn the following turn and try to dominate the board. So I'm not really worried about this becoming a 3/3 because we're just going to have a giant monster. We could Expressive Iteration. I don't like it, though. I want to get this green source into play, cast the path, find another green source so I can play the Wrenn.
What do you mean, can you get a replay? All of these games that Airball has played today will be up on his YouTube channel.
Oh, no, he's talking about an MTG Arena feature. He wants replays in the client.
I see. I agree, that would be good.
Interesting. Magda, I feel like Magda probably came off the top because he would play Magda with the Sentinel in play instead of the Ranger class, right? Unless they had the Soul Read on the Frostbite. Okay, so they're gonna have 5 mana next turn. 5 mana represents 5 mana post combat, which means it probably won't be a Goldspan Dragon. We're just playing Wrenn, and then if we draw land, we can use it to ramp. The alternative is Expressive Iteration, which doesn't seem inspiring. I think we're playing Wrenn. Make the tree creature and say go. They do have 4 copies of Dragon's Fire in their deck, so if like one of these is cards is Goldspan Dragon and one of them is Dragon's Fire, or like literally any dragon actually, except the Predator, then this 5/5 dies. So maybe Wrenn minus there is a little loose. Maybe it's supposed to be Wrenn plus instead. But I don't know, opponents played this weird. Makes me not know what they have. I have it? Oh, the Fibblethip? That was one of the beta things. I didn't even know you could still get it. Alright, so opponent plays a Ranger class and pumps a Ranger class and just says go, which means they don't have a great answer to the 5/5. I think we're pretty happy. So let's consider see if we can consider into a land to put extra lands in play off the Ren Plus. And then we can path to the festival after that. Yeah, I like that. Change of plan, I think. Can I put that back? Can I bin that? Realistically? No way. No, that's going to hand. So we can just do a normal plus then. Okay, okay. And we put another Goldspan Dragon in the bin. That's pretty sweet. Path to the festival. I don't think it matters at all. Hello? I think we play this... Yeah. Because we want all our mana. And next turn we're going to Goldspan Dragon attack into Alrund's Epiphany. Right? Oh, not quite. We don't have quite enough mana to do that. But I don't feel like we're in any danger at all here. Especially if they're just pumping... Which one did they pump? They pumped this one, so they can play creatures off the top. Sure, you got it. Okay, so this is going to take all our red, so we can't Expressive Iteration here. At least at first. Are we attacking with the 7/7? I don't think so. We can't Ren into Alrund's because Ren puts them onto the battlefield tapped. Unfortunately. But it is what we're going to do. Because it also pumps our 7/7 quite a bit. I'm not even sure I want to foretell the Epiphany, frankly. Because if I foretell the Epiphany, then it sends... Like, it's the only foretell card in the deck. They know the second turn is coming, and it only saves 1 mana. I'm just saying go. Not sure what they could have here. Sure. Like, Kalane into Goldspan Dragon was probably one of the best things they could have had. That does block the Goldspan Dragon, which is inconvenient. Alright, the jig is up. So now they know about the Epiphany, right? This attack makes absolutely no sense if we don't have it. Alright, so how much mana do we have? 5, 10, 12, 14. We can Epiphany and Deluge and Iteration. That seems pretty good. We can also minus the Ren and attack them as well after the Epiphany. Sure, consider goes to hand, iteration to the bin, we'll play another land, make our stuff bigger. Deluge. I'm just gonna cast the Epiphany now so I don't somehow run out of mana. Playing with my food. Yeah. That makes it easy. Okay, so Grixis dragony stuff. In the board, opponent has 3 copies of Devour Intellect. They do now have in the board 2 copies of Deadly Dispute, which should probably be in the main. 2 copies of Price of Loyalty, which is a concern, but they don't have many sack outlets other than like the Predator and the Deadly Dispute. That's not all that worrying. Another copy of Soul Shatter deals with the dragon. Yeah, they're Giant, not Grixis, sorry about that. And 2 copies of Jack-o'-lantern, and I have no idea what in God's name that card is, so we're gonna live on the edge and not look it up. So what do we want? I think I am interested in the 2 copies of Burning Hands. Like, if we keep their little crappy creatures off the board, I think we're happy. Cinderclasm seems reasonable. Stroke is like actually a decent answer to their big dragons and their chariot, so it will find uses. What don't we want? I think that Burn Down the House is probably pretty medium. Like, they kind of want their stuff to die actively in 5 mana, especially when it hits our own creature and our planeswalker. It's not really all that inspiring, so I'm fine cutting those, I think. How do we feel about the suspicious stowaway? Like, how are they doing for removal? They actually have like almost no removal. Like at all. They have 1 copy of Crush the Weak. But they are pretty good at gumming up the board. But this can't be blocked. Actually, I think this is probably really, really good. I'm cutting this. Doesn't deal with the flyers all that well. We're on the draw, which makes me want Memory Deluge a little less, but we did bring in 2 Disdainful Strokes, which makes me want them more. I think I'm just going to trim no, trimming Iteration seems insane. I'm going to trim Us Cinderclasm, because I just don't think it's that great. And I'm tempted to bring that in, the Stowaway, on the play. But I think on the draw, it might be a little too easy for them to deal with. Awkward. So no blue mana to cast the Iteration on 2. However, we do have the Burning Hands for removal, and we have the Path to Fix and ramp. And Iteration will then be able to find us gas. So as long as we don't get completely run over, which I don't think is something their deck is very good at doing, I think we can keep this. Okay, there's our blue source. Oops. Bluffing Frostbite, obviously. There's Magda, sure. Magda's gonna die. That's pretty good too, realistically. So now that they have Deadly Dispute in the sideboard, now I think we kill this on our turn. Because I don't want them sacrificing it in response. Sure. You got it. That's a pretty good draw. Iteration keeps better the longer in the game we hold on to it, so I'm just going to ramp. Get our other blue source. Or another blue source. I think our mana problems are fixed for the rest of the game. Consider the following. Yeah, fits nicely with the Memory Deluge plan. It was a Bill Nye reference, yes. This is our second green for Ren, but we also have a mountain and another green source, and I want the second blue to be able to cast Deluge and Consider. I don't think I want to main phase either of them, or do I? Actually, maybe I do. Maybe I want to cast Consider here in case I draw something. Yeah, let's do it now. No. No, we will not put that in our graveyard. I'm going to hold on to that one, thank you very much. Opponent's also stuck on lands. So this isn't really a fair fight. But I'm not really looking for one. I mean, not like the best hits, but like, I think any of these are good enough to win the game. I probably want the Hall to play well with the Epiphany and just kill them. And I think I want the Frostbite, because the Iteration already does a decent job digging for gas. And getting the Valky out of the way. Yeah, I don't think it matters much. Keep these two. Actually, I think it does matter a little bit, because now we can foretell the Epiphany, cast the Iteration, play the tap land, and hold up Frostbite. Actually, we don't have enough red to do that. But maybe we get there with an untapped red off of the Iteration, and then we get our full set of value. Okay. It's... I think the like technically correct play is probably to keep Ren in 7, because they like don't have a great answer to it. And Price of Loyalty stealing the dragon is a bit of a beating if they have it. Like, they play land to steal the dragon, and then we're in some trouble because they gain 2 mana and they can unload their hand. Okay, I'm going to keep the Wren. And put the dragon back, and we'll play this land. And now we can either foretell Epiphany or ramp. Foretelling Epiphany is actually mana inefficient. They have Duress. Do they have any Duress effects? They actually have 3 copies of Devour. So, like, I think this is less efficient, but it's the safest way to win the game. Now we can say go.
You know they have 2 mana, right?
I do know they have 2 mana. But if I play a creature, like if I play Goldspan Dragon or something, and they play creature, Price of Loyalty, steal the dragon, attack with it, make a treasure, 2 more mana, then maybe that gets them out of the game. Field of Ruin, like, an inconvenient answer to the Hall. Are we frostbiting Valky? Realistically, I think we are. Let's just win. You can cast an Epiphany with for no value. I think I like... Do they have any hasty threats? No. Well, they have Dracolich. Maybe I should have held the Frostbite, because if they... Well, they can't cast it now anyway, whatever. What am I talking about? And I'm just gonna throw a ton of lands onto the battlefield. Sure. This is fine. I get the feeling chat is mocking me.
I mean, that's what chat does.
God, I trusted you. Yeah, see? See? That I foretold the Epiphany.
And then you drew it.
And then I drew another one! Alright.
You gotta stop hanging out with CGB so much.
Alright, we'll play the one from hand, I guess. No, I should have played the one from Foretell Zone, because I could foretell and cast the other one next turn. Whatever.
You're gonna play as many Epiphanies in one cycle as they will play lands for this game.
I think I'm the only one who sleeved up Epiphany in this whole tournament, actually, looking at the lists, which seems insane. Alright. Are we attacking? Are we, though? Yeah, fine. Did you just put your face in your hands?
I did.
Yeah. Here you go.
CGB, you're a terrible influence.
Got there. 3-0 the hard way.